You're watching a live sports presentation of Texas Student Television.
Happy Good Friday, everybody, and welcome to Texas Student Television, their broadcast of the Varsity Cup in Austin, Texas. This is the Texas Longhorns versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish here at Whitaker Fields in Austin. It's Brooks Cabina, myself, Rachel Winslow, and Charlie Schwann here at the Whitaker Fields, and it's a rematch from last year's game. Notre Dame played against Texas, lost as Texas went into their first Varsity Cup last year, able to get in the second round where they lost to Navy. And this year, coming back in against Notre Dame at the 7th seed, Notre Dame at the 10th seed. Last year, Texas was the underdog when able to pull that one off. For this one, Notre Dame obviously wanted to try and get some revenge on this one. So we'll have a pretty good one, won't we?
Yeah, it's going to be definitely shaping up to be a great game. Notre Dame got here pretty early. They had to travel in today. The game was actually supposed to be tomorrow, like all other first-round Varsity Cup games. But since Notre Dame has religious traditions, they didn't allow the team to travel on Easter Sunday, so the game is going to be here a day early. But Charlie, how do you think this game's shaping up so far?
This game could go either way, all right? Either way. Texas traveled up there, took them out. It was a great game, and now Notre Dame is coming down here on our home turf. So this game could go either way. They're here to win, we're here to win, and I mean, it's going to be intense.
And here in the Varsity Cup, Texas the 7th seed, Notre Dame the 10th seed. The winner moves on. They'll end up going off and playing the second round. Texas, do you feel like either team, as they move on in this tournament, it's a very tough and competitive cup here. If whoever moves on in this tournament, who do you feel like will have a shot going in the second round, maybe further?
Whew, that's tough because Cal is going to be the next round in the second round, the quarterfinals, and they're the runner-up past 2 years.
A very, very talented rugby team.
Very competitive. Either whoever wins today, they're going to struggle in the next game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, and also from last game, so you see here the tournament here, Texas and Notre Dame right there. California already with the bye. They'll await them for April 11th. BYU also on the other side. UCLA and Air Force, Utah, Oklahoma working in. Texas playing Oklahoma earlier in this season. These games, Navy from last year over there against Dartmouth, all the way through in that final game out on May 2nd, right at when the school's about to end. That'll be broadcast on NBC Sports. But throughout all these teams, guys, who do you feel has the chance to be there in the championship? Does Texas have that kind of chance?
This is our second year in it, so we're still very new at this, but we have a very talented team. And under the right circumstances, we could absolutely go all the way. And we're just getting better and better. So I expect us to go further than we did last year, and then the year after that, we're going to go even further.
Yeah, Texas has got the potential. In every game they've played this season, something has clicked. They just got to get it all to click the whole time for the full 80 minutes.
Absolutely.
Right, and with these teams, they line up here right here before the game. We're just a couple of minutes here in our pregame show, and we'll go ahead and introduce our starting lineups for the University of Texas. Here on Texas Student Television. For Texas, they bring in their roster from Texas. Adam Briones is the #1 prop here, and Adrian Ruiz, the junior hooker. Tommy Gilmore, the senior prop. Connor O'Leary, the junior lock. See over here, Claude Liney, senior, all the way through this lineup. From these players here, a lot of good talent, but who sticks out to you guys as a player who's going to make the biggest difference?
Now, you mind if I jump in here? A player to watch in the pack is going to be John Murphy, and he is a powerful.
We're going to break real quick for the national anthem.
minutes away from the start of our game here in the first round of the Varsity Cup. Just going through the national anthem. Sorry to cut you off here, Charlie, but you were mentioning your player of the game here.
Yes.
Watch.
In the pack, we're going to keep our eyes on our flanker, John Murphy, who is a very talented first-year player here. He can go hard. He can go hard for 80 minutes. It's very impressive, so keep an eye on him. He's going to be a powerhouse.
My player to watch has got to be Carson Newman. He's a sophomore. What makes Carson special is he doesn't get that many tries. He's only had 2 tries this season, but he's a great ball handler. He hands off a lot of passes that lead into tries, and he's a great form tackler.
And without him, we can't get it out wide.
Yep.
And when we get it out wide, that's where they're weak. So.
Well, those are our opinions here. Reese Miller's actually out with Christopher Hops, the head coach of the Texas Longhorns. And we'll go out to Reese right here on Texas Student Television.
Alex Ford, Wade Bennett.
Here with Coach Hops of the Texas Longhorns, coach the very first game in the tournament. Matched up with Notre Dame in this exact same type of game a season ago. What can you take away from that, and what type of challenges does Notre Dame present to you specifically?
Well, they're a year older. We caught them when they were pretty young last year. This year they're going to be bigger, they're going to be stronger. We lost some guys up front, and I think that's really going to be the pivotal point is how we can handle their big guys up front, and our guys are definitely going to have to step up.
And in terms of the season thus far, what type of momentum do you think this team has coming into this game, and can you replicate a performance like a season ago in this first round?
Well, we lost some special players, so I don't know if it would be replicated. I think each team writes a story on their own. As far as momentum goes, we've been stop and start. We've had some losses this spring. So I don't know that we have a lot of positive momentum built up. We won a pretty tough game last week, but really this is going to be its own element. You know, it's going to be a little bit harder, a little bit faster. They're going to be dialed in. Our guys are going to be dialed in, and, you know, the pressure's on. So.
And, Coach, you talk about that pressure. What is the most important challenge facing a team like Notre Dame, a veteran, a year older here today?
Aggression. Our guys have to step up. When they front up to us, we have to front up back to them. We have to give harder than we get. So whoever wins that battle up front, runs harder, tackles harder, and hits each other harder is going to win the game, I think. It's going to be a really easy formula.
And, Coach, is there any one guy you look at on your side to make a difference, or a guy that you have to stop on the Fighting Irish?
So they have a football transfer named Tyler Wall who's going to be very difficult. I'm not sure where he's going to line up, but he's a tough runner. He's low to the ground. He's a little ball of muscle, and he's a super athlete, as you could expect from a Notre Dame football player. So anytime he gets the ball, we're going to have to target him. We're going to have to take him down. From our side, John Murphy's been playing really, really well. He's a loose forward, which means he's going to be around every play out there. So if he has a good game, I think we'll have a shot, and he has to definitely be focused, dialed in, and ready to play hard.
All right, Coach, thanks, and good luck tonight in the rest of the tournament.
All right, cheers. Thank you very much.
All right, that's Coach Hops of the Texas Longhorns. Back to you, Brooks.
Thank you, Reese. There we are live at the Whitaker Fields. Texas on the right in orange, Notre Dame in the white with that shamrock on the back.
Setting up for a scrum right here.
Yeah, first scrum of the game.
Scrums are one of Texas' strong suits.
Here it's placed under.
Out on Notre Dame's side.
They're getting a breakaway
And they got
here.
space out here. Taken down by Carson Newman. Great tackle. Tried to poach.
See what I was talking about, that good tackling form?
Texas backed in.
So here Notre Dame taking a kick here out to the right side, and this one's going to go out of bounds.
And we'll be setting up for the first line out of the game.
Now, last year we had Matt Bomberger throwing in the lineouts, but this year he's out. He suffered an injury last year in the Navy game that Texas played in the second round of the Varsity Cup. So he's not here, and they're going to replace him.
Seems like Claude Line is going to be the one hoisted here for this lineout.
Notre Dame's going to throw it in.
And throw it in the middle. Now Notre Dame has possession.
And they're driving.
They're going for a maul. It's going out pretty well.
It seems they're calling a foul on that side. So the foul call. Now Texas has possession here. Now deep on their own side. Whenever Texas is in this situation, do you feel like sometimes it's a little more about gaining ground here instead of focusing on a score?
Exactly. What they're trying to do is probably going to be kicking it down towards us to get in a better field position.
And there goes the kick.
Here comes the kick, right to us. It comes out of bounds. And Texas will get a chance to throw in for the line out.
They're going to have Adrian throwing it in at number 23.
Adrian Ruiz, who playing hooker today. Try to throw it down the middle of this line.
And it goes to the back pod. Caught.
Here comes Texas on the side. A nice movement across and taken away pretty closely. They're covering up well.
Carson's been distributing well so far.
The ball handling is looking good so far. Usually it's something Texas struggles with. But so far, so good.
Some nice pick and goes by the forwards. Good rucking.
Oof.
Here Texas going on the right side. Getting towards the middle of middle field.
Great driving right now. More pick and goes. And we're starting to get space out wide. And it goes to the backs now. And we've still got space if he would give it. And Rob takes it up.
Almost made it through that line.
Well, Gilmore.
And it's poached by Notre Dame.
Yeah, trying to get through it to the Texas side, but Notre Dame playing pretty good defense on that end. But it seems that they're going to.
Not releasing?
Yeah.
This game's already very different from last year. Last year the game was so much fast paced. This year they're taking their time, playing a lot more defense on Notre Dame's end. Texas is struggling a little bit more to get down the field.
And kick by the captain Taylor. Great kick.
Line out, Texas.
Well, far out enough for Ruiz to come in and throw in again to the line in. And back on that last play, Notre Dame coming in with the tackle, but as soon as you make that tackle, you have to make the release before you try and make a play on the ball. So Texas able to maintain possession, get a chance to get here near the goal line, get the first points of the game.
And caught by Texas.
And now Caballero.
Oh.
Feel like they were obstructing a little bit on the line out.
We're going to a scrum now.
Not straight. Texas Longhorns. Notre Dame scrum.
Now, last year we had a lot of our forwards leave. We had Danny Cameron at prop last year. He's now out. He graduated. We also had John Boudreaux as a scrum half, but he's been out from an injury to his shoulder. So we've got Eddie in at scrum half now.
This is a Notre Dame scrum.
Oh, and Texas able to pick it up. Running towards the goal line. I believe that's Caballero.
Yes.
And he's making a run through it, and he's brought down just shy of it.
We're going to see some pick and goes here, trying to drive it in.
Now
and we go wide.
Side. Here's Gall. Bumbling through, and he shoves his way through. Does he get across? And he does.
He got it.
Try.
Texas up with the first try of the game, just like last year when they scored the first try.
Try by Tommy Gilmore.
Gilmore powering his way through, just getting it close enough for them to try and work against the Notre Dame defense. So 5 points for Texas. And they get the first points here in the Varsity Cup in the first round.
They're going to go set up to kick for the conversion.
It's a nice setup, too. Able to get in the try right in the middle of the goalpost. Makes it a really easy shot. But the wind here today, blowing from left to right here, it's very fast. It'll be right in the face of Robert Gilmore.
Yeah, last year the wind was also bad at the game. It was so bad they had to have Taylor Hayes go out in the field and hold the ball for all the kicks because it kept blowing off the stand.
And it goes
and
through.
Kick is good.
So 2 points in, and Texas leads this one 7-0. So taking on this other end, we begin this broadcast talking about how they should just try and find some pressure to get the ball moved across the field just to get a little space out there, but they end up scoring all the way from their own end.
But the key now is after they just scored, they still have to be on their game.
Right.
They can't get too confident right now because that's when mistakes happen.
And last year, Notre Dame, if anything, they were down the whole game last year, but they never gave up. If anything, they came back stronger in the second half.
And Texas needs to watch out for that.
And Notre Dame here to kick off.
Pretty deep kick. And that's out.
So Texas will come in with possession. Kick traveling too far and out, so it'll be a Texas scrum here right in the middle. Right how we started this game, Texas ended up on that side too. And we'll see if Texas has the same kind of results starting the first. In the last scrum, you remember Texas able to steal that one off of Notre Dame's end. So really crafty work from Caballero on the last end, but he will be throwing this one in.
Looks like we have most of our backs out here to the left, so we can probably expect a play to the left unless we go blindside with Captain Taylor Hayes as wing.
Doesn't seem that they were set. They'll go ahead and reset this one.
Even with these headsets on, we can hear head coach Chris Hobbs yelling at the players. He's a very vocal coach. So when he's not happy, you'll know it.
He's passionate.
A very endearing nickname I've heard.
Oh,
yes.
Bus? Yep.
And fitting.
Absolutely.
So Gil, here is the.
And, oh, that's stolen.
So right away, it seems like Texas on that end. They'll reset this one. Ball came out the side, I believe. So they'll reset this one instead. Ball has to go through either side from left on the right side. If it comes out on either end, they have to reset and start over. So Caballero will throw it in again.
And it looks like Notre Dame drives over their 8-man, picks it.
No pressure on him at all coming out of the scrum.
Good offload by Notre Dame.
Oh, he's got some room ahead. Oh, look at him fly through,
there
driving
goes
his pants in the pitch.
Taken down.
We'll have to talk to the wardrobe characters out there. We've got a mature audience. We can see that kind of skin. But here Notre Dame having a chance here to try and tie this one up. Texas now on the defensive side. Have they been?
Line out, Notre Dame.
So Notre Dame will have a line out on that side. So in this situation, Texas, whenever they feel on this end, the strategy for them on the defensive side, just what are you thinking on their end?
The defense has to line up with each other, establish that line, and keep that line speed, because when the ball comes out, if they don't move together, that creates gaps, and that's the gaps that the runners are going to hit.
And this is a situation Texas has been put in often this year. They get down to within 5, within 10, and then they keep it there. They play hard defense there, but they have a hard time playing tough defense on the other side of the field.
Now Notre Dame just trying to power it through.
Yep.
They've called it off.
Looks like a penalty on Notre Dame.
Penalty awarded to Texas.
Oh, obstruction. It's when one player gets in the way of the player with the ball.
Kicked out by Hayes.
So Texas with the 7-0 lead. It looked like Notre Dame was in a chance to get through. That's a tough penalty to come against them, obstructing through. But, you know, they were trying to set that up so they can plow through this defense, just power their way through. They are seemingly bigger on this end.
Right. They have a few pretty big guys.
But Texas with possession.
Great hands. Captain Taylor Hayes has it, and he is taken down. Rolls.
Great roll for that extra yardage.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
there-
knock-on right there.
Yeah. Couldn't
Knock
hold
on.
on to it. So whenever
And it looks like we were playing advantage to Texas, so we still get that ball.
and able to kick it up through, Texas not offsides on that one. So it's still playable. Big collision. Notre Dame trying to fall to it. They are able to.
Even though Notre Dame came up with it, Texas still has better field position. Much better than the situation they were just in.
Recovering nicely on the defensive side. This one covered up. Notre Dame really protecting that offensive side. Seems like Texas came in from the side there, and they'll reset. So right now, Texas leading 7-0.
And number 7 at the bottom of our screen, that's the player to watch. That's John Murphy, playing open side flanker for Texas.
A little conversation.
Seems to be a little annoyed right now.
Well, for those of our viewers watching, Charlie Schwann, former player for Texas, brought to our booth with a knee injury. We know that players out there miss you, but we're glad to have you here in the booth.
You know what? I appreciate it. I'm having a good time.
And John Murphy, he obviously is likes to cross boundaries here. So
Absolutely.
it's fine. You can talk to him. It's all right.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. And Notre Dame's going to be kicking this one out.
On the other side, and it goes out of bounds. And Texas
Very great kick.
putting themselves in a nice position on this end. Notre Dame coming through in the size of number 18. I wonder if that's our football transfer. We heard that there would be one, Richard Kessler.
That is a big man right there. If he gets the ball, he's going to be hard to take down.
Here to throw in Notre Dame. Claude Liney right at the front trying to take it away. It gets over him.
And they set up for a scrum.
Seems to be the strategy for Notre Dame. Use their size. Last time they were called on an obstruction.
Yeah, you know, in the last year's game, all of their tries didn't come from any big runs, nothing fancy. It was just hard pressure at the goal line, pushing it in just like they are here.
Here gets through, and they'll try and set up again. So on this side, Texas, whenever you find yourself in a position where you are at a disadvantage physically, how do you respond in this situation?
You have to be more aggressive, you have to be quicker, and you have to hit low. And that is a key thing for our team,
That's
is hitting
what John
low.
Murphy just did.
Right, and Murphy taking down number 18. Mentioned how hard it might be. Took him down
And
pretty
great
quickly.
tackle by
Big
Human.
hit.
Great tackle. Trying to poach. And
Penalty awarded to Notre Dame.
looks like that might be a penalty on number 5, Claude.
Looks like Liney came in a little too soon. And Notre Dame will be rewarded on the penalty. Referee explaining it to Taylor Hayes, the captain of the Texas Longhorns.
And this is actually Taylor Hayes' only his second game back this season. He went out early this season with concussion and stayed out with concussion-like symptoms. Actually, his head is wrapped today because in his first game back last week against the Blacks, he got his ear ripped off a little bit. They had to tape it back on, so I guess it's still just taped on.
It's been a rough year for Taylor Hayes.
Yeah.
So it's never a good thing whenever you use the words almost ripped off.
Little bit ripped
with
off.
anything.
Yep.
No.
So he's got his ear taped on today, so he should be doing fine.
So Van Gogh is playing for Texas today. It is an artistic sport.
Indeed, yes.
And if you haven't noticed Charlie's artistic mustache, that's one of the best additions to Texas Student TV we've ever had.
Oh, my God. You guys are too nice.
And Notre Dame getting
Great
the line
drive.
out, and they're driving through using that physicality.
And Texas is stopping them right now.
Making that line, and they're pressing
driving.
towards it.
They might drive in. That's a try.
Yep.
Try time, Notre Dame.
Across the goal line, Notre Dame now within 2 points, 7-5. And with the difficult wind and a little far from the goalpost on the left end, this will not be an easy kick afterward.
No, and last year Notre Dame struggled with kicking. They only made 1 or 2 of their conversions.
So here Notre Dame, just a little bit on the left side. Wind blowing from left to right on that crossbar. That were set up just about an hour before this game. This whole entire field at Whitaker used for everything from softball to flag football and, as you see, rugby. And the team actually planted these in the ground just an hour before. So
Yeah.
we've been told they're steady.
Somewhat steady.
With
Somewhat
the wind,
steady.
they'll be
Steady
tested.
enough.
We hope.
You know, I wonder if they do fall down while he's kicking. Do they
it
do they
count still?
reset it, or does it just count?
I'd like to think that it counts.
Just
but,
roll it,
yeah,
roll it across.
But I don't think that's going to be the case.
So
Hopefully
with-
not.
With the wind behind
They're
him,
gonna
here's
come
Notre
in, try and
Dame
block
And
it.
that's
And
looks
they're
like
good.
that's a little low. Yep, no good.
Conversion, no
right
good.
through the
Texas
bottom of that
7,
crossbar.
Notre Dame 5.
And Texas will be able to bring this one out.
So Texas up 7-5.
And they'll be able to kick off here. Texas leading 7-5. And whenever you can't convert on these extra points at the end of being able to get a try, do you feel like the strategy changes for Notre Dame at this point?
There's somewhat, but they're still going to try to score. That's not going to change. Now, if they get a penalty kick, which that would give them 3 points, that'd be ideal. But otherwise, they're still going to be driving down here, and they're just going to be going a lot harder than they were before.
Well, Texas still trying to figure out things on the physical side. Notre Dame plowing through. The only thing that kept Notre Dame out of it on that first drive before that was their own obstruction penalty. But we'll see how Texas responds.
Now Texas has got to beat him with speed. They can't really beat him with size.
And 18 comes in again, just plowing through.
And right now, it's taking way too many Texas players to take down one Notre Dame player. And that's taking Texas players out of play, and that's an issue.
So they've called a yellow card against Texas.
Let's see what number that is.
I feel like they called that against.
That's on Allen, our number 6, blindside flanker.
So Allen.
So I believe he'll be in the penalty box for 5 minutes.
Will take him through.
Another problem with Texas needing all these guys to bring them down is everyone's getting tired out now. They don't usually get that rest that they have when everyone's defending the ruck.
That is Alan Coburn that received the yellow card on that penalty, and Notre Dame getting possession here, plowing away once again. So without Coburn,
and they're
now,
calling in their backs right now. All their forwards actually are coming in.
and you're already missing a player on your end. Your strength diminishes. Notre Dame probably loves seeing that.
And that ball's out. They've got room out wide. Bad pass.
Let's see if Texas uses that speed. Notre Dame finding the chance. Texas
Taken
brings
down
him
by Robert.
A nice pickup from Gilmore.
Robert's another freshman that you should keep your eye on.
Very, very talented player, actually, yes.
Where is he from? Ireland?
Ireland, yeah.
Yeah.
Ireland.
Texas has a lot of foreign exchange student players on their team.
Well, he has a little extra incentive against the Fighting Irish.
And we got to not getting low enough right now. Cloud Liney getting in there and trying to counter-ruck a little bit.
Oh, getting past. You mentioned.
And that ball was almost stolen by Gilmore.
Hey, Gilmore being very aggressive in this first half so far.
Notre Dame's got some numbers out here. Taken down by the winger.
Matt Young on that tackle. Now, Notre Dame throughout this game has not been good in space. Not a very fast team, and they've gone to that more often. Here they are again out in space, trying to get on the outside edge. A couple
And
of great
they've got
pitches.
breakaway. Great offload.
On that left side here is Notre Dame taken down on that far end on the corner. We'll see if they revert back to their.
Match.
Oh, and Texas comes away with a steal,
Looks
and
like
they've
Eddie
called the
stole
whistle.
that.
I think this one's going to be a penalty against Texas. It will be. So at this point, if you're Notre Dame, I mean, I know it's too far on the far side of the field, but I feel you almost can't consider a penalty kick on this side.
Their strength has
No.
been working so well for them so
They might as
far.
well drive it in.
Yeah.
That seems more reasonable. And we'll see. Can't quite see what that call was, but the captain, Taylor Hayes, is going to talk to his team right now.
Getting a little time here.
The most important part for Texas is to keep their emotions under control. They can't get too frustrated.
Referee timeout.
So the referee is calling the timeout on this. So now, with Notre Dame running through this so much, being able to run the defensive side, they've made great tackles. They're able to power through. At this point, they're in a timeout saying, as you said, the penalty kick, why do it whenever we can run through this? And Texas on this side down a man already. I mean, at this point, what do you do?
Drive it right in, and that's probably what they're going to do. I can't see them going out wide here. I mean, they haven't been doing great in space, but we have seen a couple breakaways. So it could go either way, actually, I think.
And they're not fast, but they are strong, so those breakaways end up leading to a lot of yards when they just break off tackles.
They're very dangerous, yeah.
So here's Notre Dame. We'll see what they decide to do. And here comes the line out. On the deep side, and they go right to that power game. Finds
And
an opening.
That maul collapsed.
And he's trying to drive ahead on his own, and he's brought down right before that goal line.
Met by Claude Liney.
Oh,
and
and
the
a
ball's
fumble there.
lost.
Does Texas recover? They have.
Looks like that Texas ball.
So Notre Dame had a chance to go up for the lead, and Texas comes up with a fumble to pick it up and get their own possession back to hold on to the lead. I mean, Notre Dame, that's 2 times right at the goal line, 1 time an obstruction penalty that gave the possession back to Texas, and now they've lost the ball. So they go into a scrum here to start on their own side.
Yeah, they've still got a chance to get it back here in the scrum. But Texas is usually pretty strong here, so hopefully they'll come up with it on their end.
It'll be thrown in by Caballero.
Looks like that's backed in for Notre Dame. They might have been pushing before the ball was in.
So here Texas will go ahead and start off.
Looks like a high tackle there.
He stays
And
up.
Look at Caballero running through. So creating some space for Texas to perhaps use some of that speed.
Claudlini drives. Brought down rather fast. Good ceiling by Texas, though, right now.
Now they go to the power game. Now breaking out the far side.
Out to Felix, who's a great runner.
And
Oh,
Felix.
he breaks away. Here comes Olazaran on the far sideline. Cuts back inside.
He's got support.
Great pass.
Given
down
to Hayes, but Hayes is taken down.
So there goes the speed. They'll try and keep it up. Gall, he's brought down by Notre Dame. So the intensity picked up for a minute.
They got to be real careful with their ball handling here, because if they lose it, it's hard for them to get it back.
It almost seems like the advantage has now been given back to Notre Dame on the defensive side. They had their chance to get out on the sideline. We'll see
See if
Olazaran
Felix
again.
can do it again. He's got to try and stay in bounds here. There they go. Throw it back the other way.
And Adon takes it up. Brought down rather fast. And we should be going out wide here. We have some space. All our backs are lined up.
And there it
There
goes.
they go. We'll see if they end up getting it
And
to
that
Matt
was
Young.
just a,
Oh, and it's taken from Notre Dame.
not a clean pass at all by Gilmore.
Looked like it was trying to be a trick play, maybe fake out Notre Dame. Did not go over
And
well.
Notre Dame kicks it. We have no one back. Texas has no one back.
They
Picked
try
up by
and-
Hayes. Great pickup. Runs into their winger.
Penalty awarded.
Well, on Texas's side, you can see Caballero coming over and telling them to calm down. Back on that last side, the intensity brought up. They did find an open lane and try and use that speed, but at the end of it all, having a pass getting taken away from Notre Dame, able to come back on the kick and regain possession now to really regroup and get a chance to hang on to this lead. It's still 7-5, and they'll boot this one out of bounds.
Hayes is down. Look, he was grabbing his head a minute ago.
They already mentioned
He's
that
getting
head.
up slowly, yeah.
And all the-
Taylor's a tough player. He usually pushes through.
I think today he's definitely going to push through because
Yeah.
if he doesn't, if we lose this game, if Texas loses, that's the last game of the season.
Right.
That's his last
And
game
he's a senior.
to put on a Longhorn jersey. So this is a big game for him.
But you always got to hope that he knows his boundaries and he'll come out if his head's too bad.
Oh, and a nice tip from
Given to
Liney.
Tawny Gilmore. Nice take by Gilmore.
Plowing ahead. We'll see if they end up getting it into the hands of Hayes. Trailing back. We talked about that head injury. As this one gets in the hands of Gilmore, he'll just boot it down in the Notre Dame end. They'll bring it back and they'll try and trade possession.
And we have room out here. Tanner Avery has it. Given
Matt
to the
Young.
wing.
Oh, and Young trying
Matt
to break.
Young's one of the faster players.
Brought down.
He needs support though.
Well, that's
Lots
not
of
taken down.
counter-arcing.
Notre Dame trying to punt it
And-
away.
Looks like a knock on.
Penalty awarded to Texas.
I think they called offsides against Notre Dame right on that end. You see the takedown on the opposite side. So Texas will take this in the middle with a nice ball possession on this field with a 7-5 lead here, nearing kind of the middle of the first half here at Whitaker Fields. Notre Dame trying to get redemption from last season, right whenever they were the team who was thought to win last year, and Texas pulling off their first win in their first appearance of the Varsity Cup. Now Texas
Trying
having
to do
their
it again.
home field advantage from the hometown crowd with the sun setting on the Austin skyline and holding a 7-5 lead, trying to put it all together.
Yeah, Texas has a lot to prove in this Varsity Cup. It's only their second year in it, and they're trying to prove that the first year was not a fluke that they won.
And it looks like Robert Gilmore is actually going to attempt a penalty kick here.
And
He actually didn't start off as Texas kicker.
No, it was Steve, I believe, Steven Taylor.
Yes, but he traded to the position, and he's been doing pretty well at it since.
And Gilmore will be kicking this one into the wind.
Yeah, and that wind picked up just in time for his kick, so this is going to be a tricky one.
And here is Gilmore. Try and make it 10-5. Puts it up through, and it looks good.
That looks good.
Great
Added
kick.
onto the board, 3 points for Texas, and they have a 10-5 lead. Notre Dame struggling on their offensive end. They've been able to use so much power, but Texas getting a couple of breaks. The first time a penalty, the second time Notre Dame lost possession right on the goal line. So taking advantage of the points while they can. Notre Dame obviously frustrated from their first couple of possessions here.
Yeah, you know, they've been working so hard, getting so far down the field, but they just haven't been able to convert. Notre Dame will kick it back.
Pretty high kick, and Texas lets it bounce.
Tommy Gilmore trying to power his way through. He's one of Texas' bigger players.
They can go to the right. Texas needs to be wary of this out of bounds line. Good, they send it out. Oh, kick blocked.
Yep.
Owen putting it forward, see if he can gain on possession. But Notre Dame picking it back up. You mentioned the boundaries, painted in orange. Had a conversation with Coach Christopher Hops of Texas, and he was kind of not happy about it, coming out saying that he specifically requested thick white drawn lines. But he said, I get the school spirit. I understand Texas with the burnt orange, but we will not be able to see where out of bounds is.
It's actually just hard to see even right now. So when it gets darker, hopefully those lines kick in.
See, those orange lines are not graphics that we've laid onto TSTV, and although we are putting that in the makings. Texas scrumming in the middle. We'll see if Caballero able to get it through for a Texas possession. You see those kicks backing through. And here see if Texas tries to, they've lost it.
Sloppy pass.
All able to get back on it. Now Notre Dame trying to throw down Young.
Oh, knocked on by Texas.
Now Notre Dame with possession. Trying to bring him down. You mentioned it takes more than one Texas player to take down these Notre Dame runners.
That shouldn't be the case. They should be hitting much lower.
Here taking them down low with Don Briones. And they have called offsides against Texas. I feel like they'll award Notre Dame this possession. Back into a scrum.
Texas. Scrum Notre Dame.
And despite the size for Notre Dame, Texas being able to win many of these, including the first one right in the middle of the field.
Yeah, they're actually a very good scrumming team, and we're seeing that today.
They work hard. They work a lot on scrums.
And they place it through Notre Dame. Able to push that one back out the back end. So Notre Dame getting possession finally.
Good line speed by Texas. Gall meets him.
Trying to bring him down. And he comes off on it. Notre Dame with possession. Driving against Texas, down 10-5.
That's a great
hit. Tackle.
Fantastic tackle from Claude Liney. This one ends up going out of bounds, so there will be a line out. That one's as low as you could probably get. And
great form.
So here comes Adrian Ruiz to throw it in. And a whistle called from the official.
That might not have been a straight line out. I can't see him from here.
I feel that's what he's calling against Notre Dame, so they'll reset and do it again. Ruiz getting a lot of chances here in the first half throwing these lineouts.
And this is actually now a Notre Dame lineout.
Thrower in.
Going to the scrum now. Not straight again. We are having, both teams are having some issues keeping it straight.
Could be the wind.
Well, it is the wind.
Yeah.
You set up a tower too high, sometimes it's going to tumble.
And in these scrums, Texas is doing good overall, but I bet they missed their prop that they had last year, Econ Yancey, who graduated.
He was a power player, absolutely.
Well, as you see, Notre Dame running in through these players, rolling the balls right into the middle. Those hookers in the middle trying to use their feet to propel the ball backwards. If it falls on that other side, they have to reset and do it again. Saw that earlier in the first half. And Texas able to get this one out the back. Tanner Avery.
Good pressure on
Good
Tanner
seal
Avery.
by Texas. Human sends it out to Gall. Gall takes it up, though.
Able to get on the left wing.
Oof.
Yeah,
Carson.
great roll by Carson. Great roll by Human.
Able to maintain his balance and continue to press forward. Nearing that.
And Matt's got it. He
Ooh,
can't.
he's towing the line.
And
Ended up giving up possession.
Stayed
Now,
in possession.
as soon as they lost possession, tried to call it out of bounds on themselves, and Notre Dame working with it.
from my perspective, that actually looked like that might have been out of bounds on Notre Dame. He didn't call that. I'm a little biased.
Well, here Texas trying to recover on the defensive side, and Notre Dame setting up.
Texas a little slow right now with their line speed. Their defense didn't line it up as fast as they were 10 minutes ago.
Looks like they're getting tired from having to use everybody to take down.
Looks like both teams are getting tired also right now.
And they press through in the middle of the field.
There's a lot going on in this game, just not a lot of yards being gained.
And 18 goes down.
Ooh, goes down hard.
And we mentioned him as a player that would be hard to take down, and it seems like he's the one they're focused mainly on, and he hasn't made much movement throughout this game.
But he is tiring people out.
Absolutely, yes.
Now the right side is
Stripped,
lost.
but
So
recovered.
here Texas trying to get set. And now Notre Dame for breaking out on the right end. And taken down by Will Gall. Trying to widen out here is Notre Dame. Nice pitch to Texas defenders, including Matt Young, trying to take him down. Notre Dame close enough to start using their
Great play by Abe.
strength.
And
Adrian looked
looks-
frustrated coming up there.
it looks like we're playing advantage Notre Dame now.
So now
He
on
might have
that
been
side,
offsides on that.
getting real close to that goal line. You talk about the endurance of this first half. It seems like Notre Dame is feeling a second wind. Breaking out the left side. They've got the numbers against Texas.
They've been in this position so much, you've got to figure that they really want to convert on this one.
Captain Hayes is calling his guys out to the right. That's getting
Well, the Irish throwing it way out from the back. They've called a penalty against Texas. And it's imperative for the Irish to get in here. They've seen themselves lose it the last 2 times. And there they go, bringing it through.
That's a try.
For the try. Tying it up 10-10 here in the first half. And all the way on the right end. This will be a tough kick to make again.
They do have the wind in their favor. A little bit of a crosswind, but mostly in their favor.
Maybe we'll get lucky.
And the wind, not exactly the factor on the last kick. It ran under the crossbar. So we'll see if we see a little more power from number 9. Lights just starting to kick up here at Whitaker. Nearing the end of the first half. Notre Dame finding his way back into this one to tie it up.
I'm trying to get the time on how much the penalty box time for Texas's flanker.
He should be out by now.
It might have been a 10-minute penalty box.
Here's
I did not check
kick.
that.
The wind caught it. Blows right side of it, no good.
No good.
So the score remains 10-10. And Texas will have a chance to perhaps regain the lead before this first half is over. Frustrations abound for the Irish. A couple of turnovers right in front of the goal line, and they have not been able to convert on their tries so far. And that being a little bit of a reason whenever they've scored on both sides, they're just in the corners. Perhaps not very aware of that, or just trying to get a try wherever they can.
That's what it looks like. That's the only open spot. That's a deep kick by Texas.
See if it goes.
Bounced by Notre Dame. And that looked like a knock-on actually from that Notre Dame player.
Tried to pick it up, and I think they are awarding it to him. Tried to pick it up.
This is great position right now for Texas.
Texas really needs to be careful with the ball here.
A little grease on that one, and Texas in great position. And I feel like if Texas is aware of the time at all,
Yeah, they should have a sense of urgency on this one.
not only a sense of urgency, but if they don't feel like they can get it into the end zone, at least take a shot at the goal here.
Keep an eye right now on our blind side, because there is a play where the scrum half will give it to the blind side wing, which is number 11, and that looks a little open right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does that.
Matt Young here on the near side. We'll see what Texas does. Trying to fight for it right away.
That's a messy scrum.
They haven't called a whistle, so they've said that this didn't break apart. And Notre Dame is awarded a penalty.
Scrum awarded to Notre Dame.
So that one collapsed in the middle.
Back it up, Matt. Guard the touchline.
And Notre Dame will have the scrum.
That's it. Don't let it bounce outside. Come and help him, Felix. Come and help him. He's got to guard the touchline. Come to him. I got him too. Yeah. You got to push him.
So they reset here.
Felix needs to come towards you.
And he placed it in. Both teams really fighting for this one. And they've called
That's
it
on
through.
UT. Back 10.
In the hole, Lenny. Come back.
So now Notre Dame just trying to kick this one out as far as they can. Right over here and backing
It looks
up
like
is
it's a
Coleman.
mistake.
It's you right there. Rachel had a chance to make a play but decided not to.
I really didn't think it was going to hit me.
Charlie's player's instincts came through, and he
And just turned away, actually. Didn't
He
even
protected
flinch.
his knee.
we understand. You may have a career
He's all
further
about
in here.
he's all about equal gender rights, you know. I can fend for myself.
Absolutely. Now that 18 is closer, now he really is a massive player. It is quite scary.
Notre Dame with the line in,
And that one looks straight. Finally, we're getting some straight lineouts. John Murphy meets him. Great tackle by Murphy. Great tackle by Murphy.
and you see a little bit of urgency from both teams. Pushing towards midfield here.
And a lot of players committed to the ruck on Notre Dame.
Oh, and you see Claude Liney getting right into it with that number 5 of Notre Dame, tugging on his jersey, giving
Tommy
a little
Gilmore
shove afterward.
comes up with it to the poor handling by Notre
Advantage
Dame.
UT.
They've called all sides.
Notre Dame, scrum Texas.
Here comes Notre Dame and Texas. Texas awarded the scrum. So Eddie Caballero throwing it in again.
See if they get it out to Matt this time.
Free on the near side. Seen a couple of runs at this one. Texas getting free a couple of possessions ago, but unable to score on that drive. And spun
And
through.
good put in, but it came out the side though.
They'll reset. Oh, a little
Tensions are rising on the
bit. A little
field here.
feisty coming on the end of number 9.
Those scrum halves, let me tell you what, you're scrappy.
Laughter erupting from the Texas end. I don't know. You got the big guys, and then you have the not so big guys getting into it. And that's a little more fun.
It's great.
So here comes the scrum halves again.
And Allen, the flanker, is back in. I didn't see him come on the field, but he is wearing number 16 right now.
Earlier yellow carded in the beginning of this half.
And both hookers are fighting for it, but Notre Dame is just driving.
It almost seemed like it came out the side, but
I don't think the ref saw it.
yeah, Caballero tried to pick it up, but he felt that would give it away. And Texas losing possession.
Texas is just sitting there.
Penalty awarded to Texas.
Luckily, they were playing our advantage, so that is good.
So the advantage given to Texas. They'll end up kicking this one.
Taylor's going to try to boot this one down out of bounds and hopefully get a line out close to the try line and just drive it in. Easier said than done, though, obviously.
We've mentioned this win. It's hard to get that one out of bounds, especially from all the way on the near side.
Not going to kick it.
They're making a drive up the middle.
Gall gets some.
Good job staying up.
Great driving.
They're going to rush out the side.
Out to Felix.
Given to Captain Taylor Hayes.
Hayes driving on the far side, taking them a very long way before being brought down.
This is what Texas is going to have to rely on. They need these big runs.
Cloud Liney drives on Adrian Ruiz. Great drive.
Ruiz thrown back, though. He
Gets
gets back up.
up.
Now Texas forming their ruck. And they take a kick out to the far side. They
Great kick by Human. Great kick. Notre Dame kicks it back.
Matt Young's going to try and keep
Keeps
it in
it
here.
Beautiful.
Matt Young takes it out. He's going across the field. Passes to the scrum half.
Out to Felix.
So Loazaran on the far side trying to use his speed. And he's brought down. Loses the ball. And Texas trying to hold on to it. They
Texas
regain
still
possession.
somehow still has the ball. This is amazing. Taken up hard by Gilmore.
And you hear that quickly for the time. We're getting nearing that second half, so almost wonder at some point Notre Dame with the ball
Steals
now coming
the ball.
out of that.
Great counter ruck by Notre Dame.
And the whistle called.
Looks like diving over.
Diving over.
Yep.
And those rucks protected. A lot of rules abounding on those.
Yeah.
Set up, can't be too far across, can't engage whenever you've tackled.
Got to go through the gate. Can't come in from the side.
Can't jump over.
Exactly.
There, we've seen one of the many.
Notre Dame takes it up.
Another pants tackle. We've seen a lot of those from Texas today.
18 is he just goes down if you get him low.
His center of gravity. A little
Oh,
too
great
heavy in his
tackle by
waist.
Human.
And I'm sure, as many people are, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. You just hope you get out of the way whenever that happens.
Don't want him to fall on you.
Notre Dame pressing into the Texas end. And here at 10-10, Notre Dame trying to get the lead for the first time since the beginning of this game, getting the early 5-0. Seems like they engaged.
That's a knock-on right there. Wow.
Notre Dame from Texas.
Wow. So coming in trying to gain possession but losing it. And the defense for Texas, John Murphy and Caballero coming through to increase the pressure. And that brings us to the end of our first half. And this one is tied 10-10 here at Whitaker Fields.
Much different halftime score than last year. Last time, Texas was up 36-12 at the half and only continued to increase that lead in the second. But this time they got it. Coach Buss always says that he would rather maintain a lead than try and come back and gain one. Right now they're kind of starting at ground zero, so we'll see what they do in the second half.
And throughout that first half, Texas getting a chance to get the lead after coming down 5-0, going through and taking a 10-5 lead. Getting a chance to get that penalty kick through was huge for them.
Absolutely.
So we're here at halftime, here on Texas Student Television. Brooks Cabina, Rachel Winsloff, and our guest, Charlie Schwann.
Yep, that's me.
Sporting the knee brace and the mustache. And we're glad to have all of them each on here on Texas Student TV. Our first time doing rugby. It's been a long time in waiting. And it's the Varsity Cup, first round. Whoever wins this game moves on to the second in their chance to go up against Cal, one of the higher seeded teams in this.
Powerhouse team.
Yeah, very talented.
And this will be very difficult for the team that moves on. But this one stopped up at 10. And Texas having a short history in the Varsity Cup. They're 1-0 so far in the first round. So in that case, the odds are in favor of them so far.
Hopefully, but this Notre Dame team came to play, and we're seeing that right now.
Right, and they're using a lot of their size. We mentioned that throughout the entirety of the first half. A couple of times right against the goal line, one time getting an obstruction call, one time losing the ball on the goal line. It almost seems like this one is in favor of Notre Dame. Even the score is set at 10-10.
Absolutely, I agree with you.
You know, this game reminds me a lot of kind of the Texas football games where, look, if you're watching the game, it looks like the other team's winning, but Texas is either tied or up, you know? So from just watching it, it looks like Notre Dame's winning, but the score is 10-10 because of their mistakes.
And that's 10-10 here at halftime for Texas Student Television. We'll be back right after this. We'll have more in our halftime show. Stay with us.
1, 2, 3, Texas!
This isn't a game that you just go out and all of a sudden win on Saturday.
I mean, let's go!
That's a try. Small victories leading up to a championship make champions. Be special. Be special. Small victories like 6 a.m. workouts, like getting in the weight room, like being serious about improving your skills, like committing to the moment, like being the best training team in Texas, being the best tackling team in Texas. Those are the small victories that lead up to what is a champion. Opportunities are when commitment and preparation meet obstacles and explode. This team is going to come out and they're going to give it to you. They're not going to back down. They're not going to quit. They're not going to be soft. They're not going to be weak. Look over there. That's the team that's standing between where we are and where we want to be. That's commitment, that's preparation, and that's the obstacle. Being a champion is a choice. It's a choice of every moment on the field, committing yourself to the moment with violence. Everything we've done as a program to this day, whether it's your first week or your 5th year, has led up to this. Let's go!
And welcome back to Whitaker Fields here on Texas Student Television. And that video brought to you by Rachel Winslow here, and joining us, Charlie Schwann. You saw him bumbling through back in his great days. You had some power there, man.
Hey, thank you. Doing what I do, man. Trying my best.
Trying my best. I got to watch what I say on this broadcast here in the halftime show. Right now, Texas and Notre Dame tied at 10 in the first round of the Varsity Cup. And these teams, we've mentioned it, Notre Dame using a lot of their power. They've got this size. They've used it a couple of times and getting into that end zone twice in this game so far. Texas once, but able to get their kicks afterward to tie this one up. We've mentioned how Notre Dame has the momentum right now. It's a couple of mistakes. Texas able to take advantage of those either way. Just whenever you go into this, what do you think Texas is talking about right now to take that advantage back in the second half?
They have to come out hard again, because if they get cocky or if they soften up, then Notre Dame is going to take advantage of them. And that's what we saw a little bit in the first half. After Texas was ahead, they backed off a little bit, and Notre Dame took advantage and ran right at them. And when we're not making our tackles, they're getting meters, and that's what we cannot allow to happen.
And you got to think that Coach Buss is stressing that they tackle low, because when they're going high at these guys,
these are big guys.
Yeah.
They're just going to go right through them.
Right, and through these times, you feel like at this point Texas not using too many of their speed. Sometimes we've seen them break off a couple of times. We were wondering at times. Well, Matt Young is standing close to the sideline. You talked about the play that they generally have. Do you feel like they're holding off a little bit in this first half, and do you feel like there's something that they're able to do more with Matt Young?
We have space outside, we have speed outside, and we have skill outside. We haven't gotten it outside a lot, but when we do, we get yards. So I would say if we can try to take a lot of their pack players out of play by using our forwards and then sending it out wide, we'd have so much space. We would score.
I don't think the problem is that they're not getting it outside because they don't want to. I think they can't get it outside. They're having trouble getting it out there.
It looks like the second half is starting right now.
So we come back here from halftime here at Whitaker Fields in the first round of the Varsity Cup. And Texas has possession, and they're running through. So that's how we are.
We're going to take it back to the game for you guys.
Back to the game here on Texas. The
Notre Dame.
less than 10-minute halftime show. And Texas,
they decided to cut this one short. They were just so excited to keep the game going.
Hey, we like the game. You don't want to see us here talk about this on halftime.
It actually got pretty cold outside, so maybe they just don't want to get their muscles tight.
They said, we got sun still shining day on Good Friday. Let's make the most of it. And Texas from left to right now, and tied at 10-10. And a chance here really deep into the Notre Dame side to try and get the first points and get the lead back. So here comes Taylor Hayes. He'll try and get the kick close to the Notre Dame side.
Great kick. That's going to be a line out Texas now.
Now in those, you have to be very accurate. Where it comes to possession, your side or Notre Dame's side is a fine line.
And we've seen Taylor. He's done a great job with his kicks today. All of our kicks to lineouts have been very precise.
So here comes Ruiz to throw in. Back in. Notre Dame
And,
doing
oh, that's
a very good
a
job
little
of
messy.
getting through.
Scrum half takes it up.
So
Taking
Texas
their
going on the
time.
right side. Notre Dame doing a good job of tackling right away. And here
There
comes
goes
Ruiz plowing
Powering through. He's channeling.
Now Texas can't get lazy here. They have to keep on coming and supporting their ball runners.
And right here we've seen many times Notre Dame flunk up on these situations where you have the possession in, it's just a hard time holding on to it whenever there's so much going on around you.
And Texas has struggled with that too this season. We haven't seen it so much this game since they've had these big runs that led to their first try. But here they'll struggle with it. Hopefully they'll get it in.
So close on that side. They try to
They're
wrap
pushing
around the left
Texas
side.
way back.
Yeah, try to get around the left wing.
And we'll see if Texas doesn't send it out wide.
Oh, he tried to go over the top. Getting held back. Now they're trying to get their speed up and outside. Flying back up to the middle. A big tackle from Notre Dame. PA announcer even.
Give us a little
Cringing.
ooh. Now this is some great defense we're seeing by Notre Dame right here.
Very stout in the middle.
Much better defense than last year.
So here comes John Murphy trying to take the possession and roll in.
And
it seems we've got a whistle against Texas.
Time awarded to Texas.
They've called a penalty against Notre Dame. And I believe that's Adon Briones rolling about a little bit. Eddie Caballero a little shaken up, and they'll have a scrum right up near the goal line. So in this situation, you almost try and just drive it in yourself at this point.
I don't think you can here. It's not been working out so well for him.
I think against maybe another scrum, we'll see. They could go either way, but they might consider sending it out wide or going blind right now. So we'll see what happens.
Considering how close they are to the goal line, I think they send it
Well,
out.
Matt Young standing right behind them, so that play not set up right now. It seems Notre Dame running into this one, and they've
Stolen the ball. Looks
picked
like
up possession and booted it
kicked
away.
by Notre Dame. That's
Matt's going to try and keep it in bounds, but
going to be out.
it goes out.
Well, Texas obviously frustrated after being so close to get that through. A terrific defensive stand for the Irish, though. And it remains 10-10, scored here in the second half. Next team will move on to play California. A tough opponent for anyone to make, but obviously the run.
At least it's not BYU in the next round. They've been the winner of the Varsity Cup the past 2 years.
No, a
Now
talented
getting back
team.
to Texas. Coming in on the line out. Carson Yeoman trying to get through. Plowing ahead. They've got good possession.
Nice ruck right there. Notre Dame trying to steal the ball,
Away from Murphy, and it feels like he was
and that's on
Penalty
Texas.
awarded to Notre Dame.
didn't release it right away.
That's what it looks like. He might have been playing the ball on the ground.
Whenever any player is tackled, he has to get rid of it. Sometimes it seems a little bit of a fine line. It's like, all right, I'll give it up, but I'll give it up where I want to give it up.
Exactly. And
And there's only one ref on the field, and they're not going to catch everything.
So they're a nice punt from Felix Olazan. Zaron, it goes all the way down,
Taylor
chasing
can
his
get it.
Hayes.
Oh,
Taylor Hayes
just
almost
missed.
gets it. Great play, but we've got Texas numbers over there. Notre Dame team jogging over.
They try and protect it in the near side corner. Seems
Notre
like
Dame's
they've
going
done
to
it.
probably try to kick it away here.
Over there, you see Robert Gilmore on the left side trying to
And
free up
blocked
some
kick,
space.
blocked
And
kick
blocked kick.
again. 2 blocked kicks.
A whistle
Yep.
blown.
Scrum awarded to Texas.
Scrum's going to be awarded to Texas.
This is going to be a very important scrum here.
I feel like the official is talking about
University of Texas. will
right on that side, right before they booted it. I feel that it hit the ground. They might be calling it against them.
Rhino Rugby gear and medicine in motion. Thank you so very much.
So now Texas will try again from the scrum near the goal line. Didn't work out so well last time, and Notre Dame was able to pull away possession.
We'll see if we can get a little bit cleaner ball out. That's going to be key right here.
And Caballero to toss it in. And the ball coming right back out, and they are able to
Clean
flick
ball.
it out. Here comes Yeoman.
Out to Carson, out to Hayes.
And here comes
out to
Robert
the
Gilmore
freshman.
trying to
If we can just hold on
pull
to this
through.
ball.
out tossed out left side. Here comes Felix Olazaron, and he plows through. Does he make it across?
No.
And he's right at the goal line, and I think they've
He was held up
ended up.
actually in the try zone.
Wow.
And
Couldn't get it down on the ground.
So crossing
Crossed
that
the
line.
line, but couldn't touch the ball down for the try.
Disappointing effort for the Longhorns, getting so close. We've seen Notre Dame have the same perils in the first half. This game remaining tied at 10-10. There'll at least be a line out on this side.
In last year's game, Texas came up with the first score in the second half also. So we'll see if they can do it again here. They're real close to that line.
So here comes Ruiz. Try and hold up.
Looks like that's a tap and go by Texas. Claude Lyon
that.
takes it up.
Right up, inching across that goal line. Right across.
They're so close. You can tell they don't want to send it out here. They just want to drive it through.
Oh, and they've seemingly lost the ball. I feel like Notre Dame has possession here. And they do.
You can see the frustration
That's a
on
knock on,
Captain
yeah.
Taylor Hayes' face as he walks back.
It's hard to be a wing out there and not be able to touch the ball.
Yeah.
And just watch the team
gotta
kind of
watch
fall
it.
apart. Yeah.
Really just right across on that goal line, losing possession so close in. I mean, tied at 10, this game is close to the end, and it's moments like those that you're going to think about at the end of this one, wherever it may end up.
Right.
So here, Notre Dame with the scrum. If they get possession, do you feel like they'll try and gain possession by booting it out?
We're most likely going to see a kick, unless they drive it all the way down the field, which could happen. And
they do come
Yep.
out, and there
And that
is
kick
a
is blocked.
Is Texas able to get through to it?
Looks like it goes out of bounds.
So blocked on their own end zone.
Taylor Hayes trying to pump up the crowd. He's yelling, he can't hear the crowd, trying to get him into it.
So Texas will get a line out right near the goal line. Scrum, pardon me. So they already lost it the last couple of times.
Texas
Once.
needs a big push right here. You can hear the crowd calling for it.
Looks like Taylor's encouragement worked.
So here they come.
They've got to capitalize here because of getting this close, staying here for so long and not converting.
There's no excuse not to score.
It's going to hurt morale if they don't do something here.
You see Caballero trying to grab in on that. And over there picking up,
He's
climbing
scrambling.
over. Scrambling
Scrappy
towards
scrum
it.
half, I'll tell you what.
Takes it near the goal line. They'll set up again. And they have crossed.
And
Awarded to Notre Dame.
diving in by Texas. Diving over, it looks like.
So that is the second time they've been called for that in this game. So twice Texas close to the goal line, but turning it over again. And a chance to go up 5 points goes away, and Notre Dame will try and at least salvage some possession here. That
Line out, Notre Dame.
boot going out of bounds. Not a very well-traveled kick.
Looks like we might have a player down. Do you? It's on the far side of the
Oh,
field.
yeah.
might
I don't
be
know
a
who
Don.
that is.
Does seem to be Briones. And it is.
He looked like he was in pain earlier this match. So he's going to go off the field.
Texas
Notre
has
Dame.
a nice defensive line setting up right now. Ball's out.
Notre Dame
Some arm
breaks through
tackles.
the line.
Great offload by Notre Dame. If Texas doesn't get low here and stop him, this could be bad.
Carson Newman all over him, trying to bring him down. Notre Dame taking their time to set up the play.
Bowling through. Gilmore able to get the
That
tackle.
ball's out. Messy ball picked up by Human. He takes it in.
He's careful to hold on to it. They're really grabbing in there to pull it out, but he's holding strong.
Gilmore takes it up.
Now,
We'll
Texas
see. We need
very physical. Out they break. Here
Out to
comes
Felix.
Olazaron. One man to beat. Does he get
back.
past him? Out in there.
Looks like
And
he's
that
gonna
looks
get
like a
it.
try Texas.
Look at that.
Try Texas off a big run by Felix.
Great run.
Felix Olazaron.
Had one man to beat. Got a nice shift out there and broke the tackle. Trying to get as close as he could to the goalpost afterward, but after the last time not touching the ball in the end zone,
15.
he focused on that. Now Texas leads it 15-10 here, going into the first part of the second half.
And they did get the first score of the half.
Looks like we have number 17 coming in for a Don. That's Alex Fort.
So we're in
And
Not
Felix
too
is
much of a
great. Felix is great at those runs, but the way he carries the ball always makes me nervous.
Yeah, and if you watch Felix, he rarely passes the ball. He
Right.
didn't pass it that time, and it worked out in his favor. But a lot of times he doesn't pass it, and it doesn't work out in his favor. And I personally know because I'd be out there on wing, and I
Right.
would never get the ball.
So spoken from the perspective of the player. A little bit of frustration coming out through.
Yes,
So.
I'm sure you can sense it.
But if we're talking frustrations and emotions in a game, then we're definitely talking Felix.
Absolutely, he
Felix
is.
is one of the most emotional players on that field.
Yeah, I think he's actually been yellow carded for trying to tell the referee how to do his job.
Really?
Yes.
And it's a good thing sometimes our refs cannot speak Spanish.
That's how you get away with it. So Gilmore will try for the extra point.
He's been
Great
kicking
kick
great
by Gilmore.
today.
Absolutely great.
Clean kicks.
The second one converted for Texas so far. Notre Dame missed both of theirs. And you can't make the excuse on the win, as Texas able to convert it on that side. So now Texas leads 17-10 here at Whitaker Field. First round of the Varsity Cup. Texas trying to get to the second round for the second straight year. They've only been twice in their existence. Winner will meet Cal. It'll be a tough one.
It'll be much tougher. Last year they faced off against Navy in the second round, but Cal's a much bigger threat than Navy, and Navy did some damage to this Texas team.
Well,
They
the
have to be ready for it.
Score close to 60-15 last year against Navy.
Great kick, jump, and that's recovered by Texas. Great catch.
So Texas trying to add on to the pain.
And they can't let up here. They have to keep on driving, even if they're ahead.
Going back and trying to get some possession. A low line driving kick. Has picked up Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame kicks it back.
This one seems like it'll bounce out of bounds.
And that's out.
Line out, Texas.
So here comes Ruiz again, and checking back in on Adon Briones on the sideline, was kind of holding up his knee as he laid back. And he's sitting on the bench there, and it looks like they're bringing over
One of their trainers.
a trainer to come and check a look on him. So we'll see how Briones is, but you mentioned Alex Fort in for him.
Who's also a great, great player. He has amazing hands. Not just his hands are great, but I mean he can catch and
his
pass
hands.
very well.
Soft skin.
Yes. Poor guy, he really does. He gets hurt every game. It's kind of sad.
And here in Notre Dame
that's
able to pull up the
Just a bad throw, recovered by Notre Dame.
Now Texas had a chance to, after a poor kick from Notre Dame's end, to try and get themselves back on the board and maybe a 2-score lead.
And it looks like that was a knock-on by Notre Dame, so it's Texas ball.
So here they'll get the scrum. Eddie Caballero again to push through. Him and the other scrum half got into a little bit of a scuffle on our end in the first half.
That's fun stuff. That's good. I love it.
We'll see if they're a little bit more friendly on this side. And Caballero comes
Great
over and picks
clean
it up.
scrum by UT.
Now Human with it.
Ooh, back to
Toss
Human.
it back to Young. Young clearing out. He's got a couple of beat. Does he
He's
take
got
it
a
out?
lead.
All
There
the
he
way
goes.
into the
He's
end
gonna
zone.
touch it down for a try.
And that's a try.
Nice touch.
Try
from Young.
UT.
Texas is picking up the pace. This is where they really excel. This is how they succeeded last year.
And that was
Kept the
great.
pace up. They ran it wide, and they got the try.
Great ball handling skills by UT.
Using his speed as well to get through. And now Texas with a 22-10 lead. The way this game's gone so far for Notre Dame, those are tough points to get. Feeling a little bit more comfortable for Texas's side are the fans. Nice showing for them. Sidelines filled.
Yeah, pretty big crowd actually. Yeah.
The rugby team actually had to carry these seats in, so they were hoping they'd better be getting filled.
Because if they're not.
So we'll see how Young handles his kick. And Robert Gilmore here again with the win.
His kicks have looked great so far.
Fouling from left to right. And this kick also very influential for Notre Dame, because if they make this, they're down 24-10, and that means they'll have to convert on both tries if they get them. Oh, the kick right over the top.
Looks like the wind took that.
Oh, and they called it off.
No good.
Conversion attempt is no good.
Still a great kick, though.
22.
It went right over that right crossbar. And it seemed the wind did push it a bit. So now Notre Dame getting a little bit of a sigh of relief, 22-10. They'll still have to get 2 scores to pull out the win here at Whitaker. We're nearing right into the middle of the second half here on Texas Student Television. Glad to have you here with us. The first round of the Varsity Cup. And Notre Dame will try and get possession here.
That's a short kick. That doesn't look like it went 10.
Did not.
Nope, they're going to redo it.
Must travel 10 meters for them to gain possession.
Looks like it's Texas ball.
Kick, Texas, scrum chosen.
They like to scrum. So you're going to set up for it right here at midfield.
Right now, Texas and Notre Dame both very even when it's come to these so far. We'll see how Texas is able to handle it again. Caballero able to get that one off, and the last one led to the score from Matt Young. And the official calls this one off.
Just going to reset that.
Now, do you recognize this referee, Charlie? Have y'all had him before?
His name is Scott. I can't remember his last name, but he reffed some of our games, and he used to ref a lot of my high school rugby games.
Oh, wow.
He is a great ref, but he is strict. He's he's strict.
Yeah, there's some refs that'll let things slide just for the sake of letting the game go.
I mean, he's a good ref though. He didn't like my high school very much, so he didn't ref us very fairly. But he's still a great guy. He doesn't know where I
He
went to
refs
school.
fairly now.
Oh, and that's just not a good pass.
He sails it.
Right
Here
over.
comes Notre Dame to try and take advantage.
And Felix is trying to kick it. That doesn't go anywhere though.
Oh, just
picked up by Notre
tapped
Dame.
it ahead. So now Notre Dame with a nice field possession here to try and come back from a 2-score deficit. Texas trying to hold on for the second straight year in the first cup.
Back 10 Texas.
Penalty awarded. Notre Dame not rolling away.
Not rolling away from the tackle.
Again, whenever you bring a guy down, you have to release before starting off after that ball.
And that kick is in.
Stay in. Matt Young's got it, and he's going to run.
He
Kicks it. Not a great kick, but it gets it out.
Able to roll a little bit towards midfield. Really,
great tackle. Very great tackle.
here comes Texas. Getting a shoestring tackle here. Oh.
Tackling a little too low now.
Oh, and we see the first broken tackle from 18 today.
Met by John Murphy, who is a little slow getting up.
Alex Ford
You gotta be
firing
slow
off.
getting up, and that guy's falling on you.
I wonder when we'll see some of the urgency pick up for Notre Dame, maybe on this possession here.
Good hands by Notre Dame. Human jumps on his back.
Look at the guy push through 13.
And Human's got to roll away right now. We will get a penalty.
He's kind of stuck in there.
Well, he kind of tied himself up in there to make it seem that way.
Tricky player.
Cut away from your high school referee.
Oh, he gets pants a little bit on that tackle.
Now trying to
Notre
get back
Dame needs
off
some
sides.
better drawstrings on their pants.
Exactly.
Well, they know ladies are coming, so they felt they could show a little more. fighting
Lots
through.
of talking.
This
going
is a
on the
scrappy
field.
game right now.
You can feel the intensity.
Notre Dame's
coming
got
from
some
Notre
space.
Dame.
They're looking to go left.
No penalty awarded to Texas.
That's a knock-on. Both teams were looking very aggressive right there.
They look very aggressive, but they also, once the play stops, they're looking pretty tired right now. Very high-intensity game.
So they'll pull off another scrum here for Texas.
And it looks like number 20, Brett Wortham, came in for Allen.
And here they come through. Do you feel like Texas at this point, with this 2-score lead, trying to maybe not exactly have the idea to score at this point, but just hold on to possession and keep Notre Dame out for a little more in the midfield and have them struggle a bit?
They have to. Ideally, we'd be keeping it on their end of the field right now. And it looks like it's our scrum, and we're just going to – we might even boot it down there, but we're probably just going to try to keep it down there and keep the pressure on them.
We've seen Caballero go back to pick this up twice in a row. We'll see what he does.
Quick scrum. He might be going blindside on this.
it
That's
out.
a rough scrum, though.
Pulled through. Notre Dame able to come in and steal it away. And it seems like there'll be a penalty awarded towards Notre Dame's end, so we'll reset.
And Notre Dame scrum.
Right on that play, Eddie Caballero trying to reach in and pick that one up was so close. And you see that other number 9. He's been real aggressive against him, shoving him away from it.
Yeah, they put great pressure on the scrum half.
Not making it easy to pick that ball up. And getting the ball out of the scrum, that's already a hard job. So making it really difficult.
And they'll roll through. Notre Dame able to get this one on their side. See if they poke it.
Scrum collapses.
They'll reset and do it again. You almost feel like Texas likes this here. Delaying a little bit, making it reset. Let's take the time.
I'm sure the backs love it. I don't know how the forwards are feeling about
The
it.
forwards are probably exhausted. Taylor Hayes trying to pump up the crowd still.
You see on the other end, Claudio Ramirez trying to run out. Looks like he's warming up a bit.
And he's one to watch. When he comes on, he'll probably come on replacing Matt Young.
He does.
He has speed.
He's coming in
Looks
for
like
Robert Gilmore. And it seems like Taylor Hayes is switching sides.
Taylor Hayes has gone to outside center now.
So here Notre Dame comes on their scrum. They'll reset again, the 3rd straight. So we're nearing the end of the second half. Notre Dame down 2 scores.
And it's always good for Texas to get those fresh legs in there. People are getting tired.
Especially when they're as fast as Claudio. So.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame picking up that possession.
Good
flicking
clean
it
scrum.
wide.
Texas comes up. Great line speed. Didn't make the tackle, though.
Couldn't make it. Now Notre Dame breaking free. On the right side, in the tackle. No reset, Notre Dame. A fake pass. He'll try to go off the right side.
Oof.
Clearing it up, and
Hit
it's
hard.
mishandled.
Texas is going to try to get him out of bounds right now. That'd be line out to Texas, and they're out. Great defense.
Now delaying on the outside, line out for Texas with possession. Saw that urgency come through. Even the number 9 deciding himself to try a fake pitch to get it off to the right side. They're really trying to open things up and try things creatively to get their points on the board. They've struggled immensely throughout this game. Both their scores coming at the goal line, they've just had to power it through, and that's not where this game is going to help them here. They need a little bit more speed to come back with 2 down.
Brett Wordham takes it up. Notre Dame diving over, it looks like. Hopefully we get that call. And we get it, yes.
Twice it's been called against Texas. Here's the first on Notre Dame. And we'll see how Texas handles this one. Trying to get the...
Texas taking their time, set things up, catch their breath.
Appears as though Hayes is going to be kicking this one out. That's exactly what's going to be happening.
Facing the neighbors. Out of here.
And that ball's in.
Notre Dame able to recover here. They try to get on sides as he's plowing his way towards midfield. Being wrapped up by Carson Human. Here they reset and start again. Towards the middle.
There's your guy, John Murphy, making that tackle.
What did I say? He's a player to watch. Good line speed by Texas. Their defense is really coming up quick.
Trying to give up and take advantage of the speed of one-hand pitch.
And if they hold him up, this will be Texas ball, and they can't hold him up. Now Texas has got to roll away. They make room.
Keeping up some speed. See if
Taylor
12
Hayes
can reach it out. Seemed like he had 14 on the sideline to try and get some speed, but decided against it with the safe move and move it back towards the middle. A big tackle from Ruiz trying to strip it away on his way down. There's number 9. He's a feisty fellow.
John Murphy coming up. Texas defense looking great right now. They need to keep this up.
Now they pitch it out again. Oh, an excellent
Great tackle
from Carson Human. Wrapping him up and taking him down.
Brett tries to go low, gets a little off.
A lot of this battle towards the middle of the field. Notre Dame trying to press through. They need 2 scores. Texas happy to play this game. It takes a little endurance to keep through it, but at some point.
And it's looking like Texas has that endurance. They're holding up pretty well.
We are seeing some players getting up a little slow though right now. They're definitely tired, and people are aching. I mean, you after 80 minutes of taking hits like this, your body, it hurts. So.
Oh, I imagine. And from seeing your knee, I imagine it hurts a lot.
It's not fun.
Hurts even after the 80 minutes.
Here comes Notre Dame at midfield.
Great tackle and drive by Texas.
Driving through, you see Taylor Hayes right in the middle of all
we
this.
might see a counter ruck here. That's Texas ball. Eddie kicks it.
Able to recover that. Now
Claudio Ramirez is chasing.
Bounce.
We've got a lot of open space. This is going to be out. This will be Texas line out.
So now picking up that position in the middle of the field, that was a very good gift for Texas to be able to capitalize on that and be able to boot possession out towards the Notre Dame side. Now they can have it on their end, take the possession where they can go. Offensively here, you've got a 2-score lead. What's the strategy here on your end whenever you've got this lead?
You know, right now,
Notre Dame stealing it.
Right now it's playing defense again. So.
See the second chance for Notre Dame. They haven't given up yet.
That was a great steal by Notre Dame.
You see how Brett Wordman is just trying to stay in on these tackles, but a little high. And you see, you mentioned the endurance, the tiredness. You see it at the front line.
Absolutely. But you also see them keep on pushing, and that's what it's going to take for the remaining half.
Here comes Notre Dame driving.
And they are driving. Texas needs to either take them down or stop them.
And he goes down.
Seeing a little counter ruck by Texas, but not much. Some open space over here. This is not good. Claudio Ramirez, and that's out. Claudio Ramirez, the wing, got lucky there because they had space.
Just tried to complete that one on the side. It might have been trouble. And here Texas with possession again. Notre Dame trying everything to find some way to get past the Texas defense. They've done a great job in this second half. Notre Dame yet to reach the goal line, even in the realm of it, where they spent most of the first half that way. So after this, you know they're kicking themselves, knowing that they had 2 chances to score, and that's the difference right now. They take a little bit of a timeout here in the second half. So tied early at the half, 10-10. Texas comes in and scores 2 straight to take their 22-10 lead, and a missed kick after the try on the second go leaves it at 22-10. This win has been crucial throughout this game. One of the reasons why Notre Dame has only been at 10. They've had 2 tries, and this might have been a bit of a different game if they have been able to convert on a couple of opportunities at the goal line.
That win just wasn't letting them, though. It wasn't playing for him.
Not doing well.
Ruiz is going to throw in now. 4-man line out by Texas.
So he throws it safely on this end.
And we have Stephen Taylor, number 19, coming in for Carson Human.
Now with a little space, Notre Dame trying to make the most of it. Cutting in number 15 out there, being brought down.
And just to clarify, it looks as though Human is still in. He might be playing one of the centers.
Here, pitch out left side. See John Murphy in there on the hit.
And that's a stolen ball by
possession.
Texas.
Look at Ruiz able to get it back.
And Texas needs, we're going to see it.
Wade Bennett wasn't ready for it, but instead takes it in the chest and tries to take it as far as he can go forward.
Wade Bennett does good and drops there. Looks like Alex Ford driving up.
He wants another try. He doesn't care about the 2-score lead.
And here we go. Great kick by Steve, but it looks like it goes right to a Notre Dame player who kicks it back.
High kick.
It's high in the air.
Gives Texas time to set up for it, but Eddie still mishandles it.
Given to Human.
Oh, Human with the stiff arm and stuff, but it loses it.
Out of bounds.
Still a great, powerful run by Human.
That was a great tackle.
That's your guy right there you're watching.
Yeah, that's
Look
my
at
guy.
him.
The guy I picked.
That was a nice tackle.
Brooks, have you
Notre Dame.
picked a guy yet? Have you thought about that? Or
Have I picked a guy?
Yeah.
Is that a
Who's
thing?
your
On the
player to
team.
watch?
My player to watch so far has been Matt Young. I mean, the guy has been
got
great throughout
speed,
this
yeah,
game.
absolutely. And he's still out there over there on the far side.
I am liking this Claudio Ramirez. The guy he chases down these
He's
punts
got
down
great
the side.
awareness.
He's been close to a couple of these blocks on the side. I've been waiting for this to happen. We'll see if that's what ends up. Here, Notre Dame pushing through towards this middle of the field.
These mauls are starting to even out. Just as I say that, Notre Dame gets the big push in, pushes Texas back.
Texas is just tired right now. They're letting them drive. There's no one there. Finally, they're seeing some resistance, but this has been a long drive by Notre Dame.
Big march.
We've even got
Now they
Stephen
get to
Taylor, the
stop.
scrum half, even gets in on this.
Oh, and
They
he
took
breaks
everyone
free
in
and a
and
big
gave
tackle.
Notre Dame some open space.
Oh, Carson Human just saved that possession there. Now Notre Dame breaking free. Let's see if they
They're
can get
gonna
another
have to
tackle.
save it again.
Trying to stay on his feet down there, and Texas trying to recover.
Pick and go.
Here
Stopped
comes
right away.
13 trying to pick it up. So Texas is able to recover Notre Dame back in the same situation in the first half. Can they capitalize? A whistle blown by the official.
We got a player down. He's getting up. It's all right. Limping a little bit though on the Notre Dame side, number 4.
It's hard to make out right now what the ref is calling, but it looks like he's giving Texas a warning.
So now with Notre Dame with possession.
Notre Dame taps and goes.
We'll see the urgency start here for Notre Dame, knowing that even if they score here, they're going to have to capitalize on a point after to add the 2. And not only that, score again if they want a chance at winning.
Here's the tap and go. And they opt for a scrum.
And it looks like Notre Dame is going to decide to take that.
And considering how much success they've had with just driving that ball down the field, I say they keep it and drive it in.
This is a little scary. It's likely we're going to see an 8-man pick right now. So we need to have both our flankers and our own 8-man. Texas 8-man needs to be watching their 8-man. He's a dangerous player, and if he picks it, it could be bad.
Here they go, Notre Dame getting the push out there. Here's the 9, he picks it up, pitches out to 10. Notre Dame trying to
Good
pitch
quick
it through.
hands by Notre Dame. Great tackle, though. Texas meets him.
Bring him down at the goal line. Really close here for Notre Dame. Time winding down, they need 2 scores. First round of the Varsity Cup at stake. Winner will go and play Cal next week. Texas recovering nicely, pushing them backward. Here coming through, and Ruiz trying to hold on to him, bring him down.
That's a
And he
stolen
lost
ball
the
by
and
Ruiz.
able to pick it up, going on the far side.
He can run. For a big man like Ruiz, he can run.
And he's hard to bring down.
Absolutely.
Just tremendous loss for Notre Dame. Again, that's the 3rd time
Now,
they get
it
it
looks
back.
like Notre Dame is taking it back now.
Lots of turnovers here.
Both teams heating up on the defensive side.
Do we have time remaining? Do any of y'all know what the
No,
time
only the
left is?
referee's got the time remaining.
And Texas boots this one, at least on their possession.
right to the fullback, Notre Dame's fullback. They've got space. Ruiz. That's Claudio
There's
coming in,
13
trying to tackle.
bring him down, and he
Great
does.
reset to bring him down
Notre
low.
Dame still has the numbers, though. Bringing it through. Or they're Brett Wordman trying to bring him down, and he does. The official is the only one with the time.
I can't imagine too much more is left, though.
So at any moment, Texas may be going to the next round, but Notre Dame trying to do as fast as they can to get to this goal line, pressing against this tough Texas defense.
And if Texas does go to the next round, they would be the lower seed, and they would have to travel out to Cal.
But you're picking
Great
up a big tackle. Look
by
at
Human
again. He's had some big ones today. Oh, and he tried to sneak in a little pooch kick.
Messy ball, but they recovered.
Able in the middle of the field here. Trying everything. We've seen a lot of tricks from the Fighting Irish. Bring it toward the middle. Taking down 5, pressing towards that goal line. Oh, and look over there. Eddie Caballero getting into it. Charging through.
They're getting
inching close, and they've
close.
lost the ball. Texas picks it up
Connor
again.
O'Leary comes up with it.
That is the 4th time Texas has been able to take it away from Notre Dame on their own side. That is so frustrating for the Fighting Irish. In a game where they're down 2 scores, they've had so many chances on Texas's end, but a great effort from the defense of Texas, and they'll go to a scrum.
This is an important scrum here for Notre Dame. They're going to try and get the possession back, drive Texas back into their own end zone.
And if Texas gets it, we're going to see a kick. It's going to be a pass to Taylor. It is. Stephen Taylor kicks it.
High kick.
Right for us as usual.
Right into the.
That goes directly out.
Over the producer and director, Zach Halsey, gets his own little memento, but he'll have to throw that back. Notre Dame gets the line out.
Yeah.
He'll get a chance to try and bring Notre Dame back into this game with minimal time here.
Now, it'd be ideal if Texas could jump up and steal this ball. They're going to be contesting.
Here to throw in the 16 for Notre Dame.
And they don't contest.
They expect the maul, and they prepare for it. Trying to bring it down. Got guys on the ground trying to drag the maul down.
That maul collapses.
With the march.
But it's still going. It looks like they kept it going.
Plowing towards
Texas
the end zone.
is trying to get in the way to bring this maul down because they know they're going to struggle trying to resist it.
They've had power all game. They're trying to stop it here and getting a big wrap up from Human. Able to stop the front of it. The ball out on the right side. And it seems the official calling it here.
And that's a tap and go by Notre Dame.
Oh, and he's tucked it. Texas not looking and able to drag him down, but not
Some arm
before
tackles.
he gets over near the goal line. Did he get across? And he did.
Looks like a try.
Try for Notre Dame. They pulled within a score here. They're able to get this kick off with very little time left here in the second half. Using that ball to their advantage, catching Texas off guard after that with the tap and go, and able to get that try on the left side. They'll have a tough win against them. This is a crucial kick because it's the difference between having a chance of winning and for them having the pressure of tying.
They may have enough time for one more try, but I doubt they have enough for 2.
So here comes the kick, and it is through.
That is good.
So now the pressure back on Texas to hold on to the lead, 22-17 here at Whitaker Field in the first round of the Varsity Cup. So now the Longhorns have a little less room to breathe. The whole entire second half had a great start, getting 2 straight tries to start off. But now, with time remaining,
Crowd is pretty pumped
on. Second round at stake. Texas trying to get there for the second straight year.
Felix to kick it out.
Deep kick to Notre Dame.
Matthew,
And Notre Dame doesn't pick that ball up. Big mistake by Notre Dame. He
Matt
gets caught
Inman
deep.
gets there in time, brings him down.
This
Big
is
tackle
trouble
from
for
Inman.
Notre Dame.
Now in their own corner, Texas can have an opportunity to steal this one away right next to their goal.
And we have
Looks like they crossed over.
Penalty awarded to Notre Dame.
It's crucial we start avoiding these penalties. That was great. That would have been
There's
great
been
positioning.
a lot of penalties this game.
So Notre Dame takes his opportunity to punt this one, and it did not go very far at all. So now they'll get the line in to try and come in and tie this, have a chance at tying and a chance at a win. And all the way back, you've got your last line of defense with Felix Olazaran and Claudio Ramirez. They backed up all the way to midfield. And the line out. Texas didn't even
Going
try
for
one.
the maul again. Lucky for Texas,
Texas
it
getting a little
collapses.
bit smarter about defending these mauls.
And I believe
Penalty awarded to
there's a penalty against Texas here.
Tap and go by our scrum half, Eddie.
Now charging towards that goal line. Getting into
Texas
Human.
cannot get too excited here. They need to keep their cool and drive it in.
Right, John Murphy coming in to try and pick that one up and propel himself towards the goal line. Now in the hands of Wade Bennett. He'll pitch
Sends it out
left.
to
There's
Steven
Caballero.
Taylor. Quick hands by Texas. Gall keeps it, though.
Ooh,
And it's
watch
brought
out.
down. Good offload, though, by Gall.
Now Taylor out to the left. Here comes Matt Young driving towards that goal line. He goes down. Texas trying to get some cushion again, that 2-score lead. Notre Dame trying to hold on to their last hope.
Texas coach calling for Rhino, so pick and goes. And
Right now near the goal line. Official has called his whistle, and that is
Game's
the game.
over.
Texas wins for the second straight year against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
2 for 2 in the Varsity Cup for the Longhorns.
22-17, the final score. Notre Dame made a little bit of a scare after Texas went up 2 scores in the first half. And Texas getting it close towards the end and almost getting their 3rd score of the second half. Now they move on against Notre Dame, the 17th. They'll go on and face Cal next week. It'll be a tough one for them.
it's going to be a big game. Really big game.
They got to travel all the way out to Cal. And since they just won this game, they got to take this week, only a week to plan all those travel.
And I feel like there's a lot to be said for Notre Dame's end. They're very physical, able to get it towards the side, but Texas did a lot in the second half to counter that. Notre Dame only getting one chance out towards the Texas' side and able to plow that in to get at least to 17. But what do you feel Texas did on that one to close this one out and seal the deal?
We started tackling a lot better. We started hitting low, and if you saw that last maul that they tried to pull off, we had guys pulling that maul down. Because when they drove at least 20 meters on one of those mauls, and that's dangerous, so we started to counter that. And I think that's what allowed us to win this game, honestly.
Texas got smart. They adapted throughout the game. They came out with a game plan. It wasn't working, so they changed it up.
Right, and moving on here, Texas obviously getting a lot of chances to score in this game. Going up against Cal, not perfect. First half, a lot of mistakes, couple of turnovers, a lot of penalties on that side. So looking at next week, what do you feel are the key things Texas must do in order to give themselves a chance against Cal? Because as you said, last year it was tough against Navy. It's going to be even more tough against Cal.
I think a key thing is going to be coming out prepared mentally and also being on their game physically. They looked a little tired out here, but for the most part, they did really well. They started lining up on defense. They had great line speed, and they looked great. Communication is also going to be key as far as their offloads and passes goes. That was a little rough at this game, and I think that can be improved next week.
And they've never played Cal before, so they're going to have to do what they did today and adapt throughout the game because they don't know what Cal's going to bring at them.
Right, and through this, now 2 times in the Varsity Cup. 2 times, last 2 years, getting out past the first round. How do you feel this organization feels at this point? I mean, it's building, it's growing, the team is growing, obviously showing success on the field and moving through. Where do you feel the state of this organization is at this point?
I mean, I see this organization only getting more professional and being more prominent on campus because right now, not a lot of people know that there is a UT rugby team, even though it is not like the UT football team, it is a club. So, I mean, I only see this organization getting bigger and bigger.
And you know, Coach Chris Hobbs has to be happy right now. He was so excited to be in the Varsity Cup last year, and he wanted to make make a statement and prove that they're meant to be there, and he did that tonight.
We'll see if we have a chance to talk to Hobbs after the game. Our sideline reporter, Reese Miller, searching for him, and we'll see if we get our chance to do that. But before we get a chance to talk to him, again, you know, from his perspective, he's been around these guys, and Charlie, you've been around these guys throughout this time. I mean, the goal always is to put yourself in a position to get into the championship. Exactly. It's been a lot of work. Just how do you feel from his perspective and the team's perspective what this win does for them?
This win means a lot to everyone. This is, you know, because Coach Hobbs has only been here for 2 years. This is his second year. So this is a big deal to be doing this. Right. Not only for him, but also for the guys. I mean, this organization has gotten, it feels much more professional and legit. If I could explain it like that. It's not just like a bunch of guys meeting to play rugby. It's 50 guys that love this sport. So, and that's where I see it going. It's just going to get better. I mean, this is a really big win for them.
And you know, Coach Hobbs has got to love the sport, because as a club team, they can't always pay their coaches. So Chris Hobbs is unpaid. He's here completely on a voluntary basis, and to get wins like this, I'm sure is the reward.
I mean, it's just because he loves the game and he loves coaching.
And Texas does win. You see them circling up for the tradition at the University of Texas, singing the fight song, The Eyes of Texas, winning 22-17. And the Eyes of Texas are a part of from Texas Student Television here. So glad to be a part of this broadcast here, Rachel and Charlie. Glad to have you on with us.
It's been fun. Thank you.
Glad to have the mustache and everything. Bring the perspective. I mean, I know that knee is going to heal at some point, and you're going to find your way back onto the field.
Charlie's only a sophomore. He'll be back.
All right.
Yeah,
if you ever want to stick around, we got a place in the booth for you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And we do have a chance to talk with the head coach of the Texas Longhorns, Reese Miller, with him. We'll be bringing him back in. We'll bring him in right here on Texas Student Television, our post-game show. So we'll come in really soon here with as he.
There he is running behind us.
You can see him. It's an exciting time. Texas obviously excited from winning their second straight game in the Varsity Cup. So interesting time for Texas, interesting time for the organization, and we'll get a chance to see how that one goes here on Texas Student Television. So here joining us, Reese Miller and the head coach of the Texas Longhorns.
Shuffle out, let them come in.
Here we go.
What do you think made the difference in the win over Notre Dame tonight?
Easy composure. We were both physical. Both sides were physical. We had a chance where we could let them surge, but our guys stuck to the game plan. They kept coming up in defense. They stuck their tackles, and they just stuck with it. So I'm real proud of the effort they gave. It took 80 minutes. That was a very good team, and we were able to pull it out.
And you mentioned about the aggression early on. Did you see what you wanted in that first half? Ended up being tied going into that second period. So did you see what you wanted there at the start?
Maybe a little bit too much. We gave away a lot of penalties, which gave away a lot of territory, a lot of possession that I thought we could have used. So I thought they were aggressive, but a little overly aggressive, but we dialed them back, and the important part is they gathered themselves and they were able to play.
Coach, big performance in that second half. What adjustments did you make in that halftime period where you went in tied and it really looked like Notre Dame might have a chance to take the upper hand, yet it was you guys, just like 1 year ago, taking on the victory?
Well, we started sending the ball down to their end, so we started kicking more and playing for possession. We knew that we had a little more speed, and we felt that if we could pin them back, we would generate enough pressure that it would turn into points. That ended up being what happened.
The second season in a row, you started off the postseason with a victory over the same club. Both you guys they're a little bit more experienced this year. You guys lost some talent. So what kind of effect do you think that had on the game, and also Notre Dame coming home to your place, this place grass instead of turf? How do you think those factors tied into the victory tonight?
Well, I like to think that anytime we're in Texas, that's a home field advantage. So we had some wonderful support on the sidelines. I know the guys were fired up, probably a little too much so, but yeah, this is our home fortress. So every time we're here, we expect to perform, and I thought we did that.
Hey, Coach, looking ahead, I know you want to enjoy the victory now, but next week you've got Cal, a tough team, trying to continue on in this postseason tournament. Well, how do you think you match up with the Golden Bears?
Well, I don't think we do. I think that they're probably a little more athletic and experienced and skilled, probably almost every position across the board. But luckily it's rugby, so sometimes being hard is good enough. So hopefully we come out aggressive, we take the game to them, and I've seen crazier things happen. So I can promise you this, we'll be ready to play.
Outstanding, Coach. Well, congrats on the victory once again, and good luck the rest of the season and next week against California Golden Bears.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again. That's Coach Hops for the Texas Longhorns and his victory over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So we will go ahead and give this back to our play-by-play man, Brooks Cabina.
Congratulations, Coach. Thanks, Reese Miller. We come in. It's a transition. We're working here. It's our fourth broadcast of this year in Texas Student Television, and Texas winning. Getting a chance to hear from him. You hear him talk about Cal, how he said they are outmatched at every position, and they're very aware of that. They're very happy of where they are in this season, being able to get a chance to get the win. They'll go out to California. It's a sunshine, nice place to be. You know, there's nice weather. You get to play rugby for another week. That means a lot to the seniors as well, I'm sure.
Oh, especially to Taylor Hayes, who stuck it out in this game even with, I'm sure, something wrong with his head. I mean,
something wrong with something. He tends to get injured in a lot of games.
Absolutely.
Well, throughout this game, we were talking a lot about the players that we had to watch. So after this game and this finale, who do you feel your player of the game is?
That's hard. I think Carson Human he performed spectacularly. His tackles were, I think he might have gotten the most tackles on the field today, and they were one-man tackles where he took guys down and at times poached, which means he tackled them, stood up, and got the ball, which is very, very hard to do. And he did that a couple times. And that was
so I picked right.
Yeah.
I win.
Not that
this
John Murphy
was.
still did great, okay? I'm not hating on John Murphy.
Everyone did great. Clearly, they won.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Rachel.
Well, Human is the player of the game on Texas Student Television. So Human had a lot of the nice tackles, a lot of the beautiful ones, the ones that will end up perhaps on College Press Box on highlights.
Yeah.
So that's from him. But Texas winning 22-17. They'll be going on to the second round against Cal next week, and we'll see how they do against them in the future as they travel into Cal. 2 years for Coach Hops, 2 straight years of getting past the first round. We'll see how the program builds. It'll be exciting to see. So we're glad to have you here with us. Charlie, thanks for joining us.
Hey, it's been a
glad
pleasure.
to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Rachel as well.
Yes.
And I'm Brooks Cabina. Thanks to all the crew here tonight to bring us through here on Texas Student Television. We'll be back with more programming on live sports throughout the rest of this season. And it'll be great to see and have all of you with us. So you have a good weekend. We'll see you back another time.